Alright everyone, all you have to do is go to bed, you wake up and you find we're like, the Cold War just got a little chillier and we're, maybe half a minute closer to midnight. What happened is, of course, the United States is like, oh, maybe we'll have to strike some Syrian targets in retaliation for Assad gassing people, which, hey, folks, remember, we were told all sorts of lurid things about Saddam before the invasion of Iraq, and it turned out most of that wasn't true, even though it was proposed at the time that it was obviously true, and that anyone who denied that Saddam had a bunch of botulism, a bunch of sarin, he had nuclear precursors, he had all these horrible WMDs. Anybody who denied that was proven. Anyone who said, well, show me the evidence. I don't support war until I know for certain. I want to actually see, like, is there footage of this stuff? Is there any tangible proof at all other than basically opinion and speculation that it exists? You're a conspiracy theorist, said Uncle Sam at the time. And a lot of people shut up because they didn't want to feel immoral. They were called pinkos or anti-American. You hate the troops because you don't want to go get a bunch of troops killed, basically. It seems a lot similar to what's going on right now in Syria. I'm being told Assad has gassed his own people on the precipice of victory. He's months away from basically eliminating ISIS in his territory. The FSA is now an afterthought. They have very little power. The Kurds they're embattled by Turkey enough, so they've got bigger things to worry about. He doesn't really have to worry, but the Kurds aren't really attacking Assad's forces. They're too busy with ISIS anyway. Assad, supposedly, is so absolutely nuts. He's such a one-dimensional madman. We heard that before about Saddam too, another similarity. That he decided, hey, how I'm going to celebrate the fact that I've basically won this war? I'm going to deploy a bunch of chemical weapons against civilians for absolutely no strategic reason, so that people will come in and attack my country, and then I'll have to spend months, undoing the damage that I myself, as a monumental fuck-up madman, have caused. You expect me to take that claim seriously without any real tangible evidence. The reason I reject it is this. And it has nothing to do. Right now, the war hawks are saying that if you oppose the idea of striking Assad, or if you question that narrative, you're a conspiracy theorist and you must be an anti-Semite. Because, Israel, I guess, decided to bomb a few targets in Homs or whatever, whichever airbase they attack. So now, if you don't want to get involved, you're an anti-Semite. Oh, where have I heard that before? Oh, with Iraq again. Saddam's a threat to Israel. Therefore, if you oppose destroying Saddam Hussein and removing his WMDs that never existed, and crushing his largely inept forces that fled within a week, you're an anti-Semite. Oh, how wonderful. Now, these are the same pro-war leftists, so-called, neoliberals, globalists, that also at every possible opportunity, they hate Israel whenever it comes to talking about Israel built a wall. Oh, that's terrible. Israel said it's going to remain Jewish. Oh, that's terrible. A horrible thing. Oh, they're moving into a part of the West Bank and it's horrible. Okay, yeah, so you criticize them, but then other people are anti-Semitic if they criticize the concept of opening up a new war in the Middle East that we're never going to win. That would be a quagmire, just like Dick Cheney admitted in '94 about Iraq. It's going to be pointless. It is pointless. So Russia comes out. In the wake of this, we say, well, we might have to bomb some of these targets. And we go before the UK with Theresa May. And Theresa May says, no, respectfully, we decline attacking Syria at this time. She's looking at her polling. That's why she doesn't want to attack Syria. It's just like with the House of Commons. They're defeating their esteemed prime minister the last time around. Remember that time that Obama said, Assad gassed people? We need to strike some air bases? And he went before, in the UK, was like, oh, yeah, that sounds like a great idea, said David Cameron. House of Commons defeats him there. Congress here says no. The people here and there say no. Overwhelming. You're another thing that you're trying to convince me. This is another funny thing. You're trying to convince me that these polls showing on Twitter largely, showing overwhelming support for attacks on Syria are credible. Okay, so public discourse in the last 2 years, the public has gone from overwhelmingly against attacking or even having anything to do with Syria, largely not even receptive towards being in Syria, to massively in favor of bombing campaigns because of gas attacks we can't even truly prove happen. Okay, I believe that. Russia now says, well, okay, US, I'm going to play hardball. Go ahead and fire some missiles, see what happens. We're going to blow them out of the sky with our interceptors. Trump then, he responds in kind, says, oh, well, the missiles are coming, basically making it declarative. We're in the worst state of affairs, or the worst relationship with Russia since the Cold War, maybe worse, and a lot of it's because of the phony Russian collusion bullshit with Rosenstein stuff. That part, by the way, Trump's totally correct. The reason why we're at such odds with Russia, we can't have normalized relations with Russia until people in Congress grow a pair and own up to the fact that they managed to lose an election there and that European globalists are losing elections and it doesn't have anything to do with Russian interference. There is no reason to believe that Russia interfered in our election to any substantial degree. Now, 13 Russians buying some Facebook ads did not swing our election. It did not happen. It is a lie, a complete lie. Likewise, I'm willing to say it's probably true that Assad didn't gas anyone. Now, the FSA probably deployed some shells. It was probably just a chlorine attack anyway. What kind of weapon was actually used? As people are saying, well, chlorine, sarin, what's the big difference? Oh, trust me, there's a great big difference between those two. Yeah, for instance, the fact that, you know, any rudimentary individual can deploy chlorine. ISIS used to do this all the time. How do we know ISIS doesn't have a cell operating there and said, oh, no, we're about to get stomped by ISIS. We're totally surrounded by Assad. Let's deploy some gas. The international community is going to blame it on him. They're not going to say that ISIS did it. They don't even know if we're here or not because ISIS won't allow aid convoys largely. You know, Assad at that point, I guess made a tactical error. He should let some humanitarians through. Although then maybe they'll just bring weapons in to justify more war. By the way, you don't have to be pro-Russia to understand that it's a bad idea to get involved in Syria. I'm not I'm worried about the concept maybe of a nuclear exchange. You know, a hot war in which Russians get killed and we end up on in another Cuban Missile Crisis. Okay, yeah, the videos and the streams would definitely be really interesting for the days or weeks thereafter. Can you imagine if the Cuban Missile Crisis had happened like, you know, now? How funny that would be. People would be streaming. They'd be doing crazy shit because they were like, well, I'm going to die anyway. I might as well make porn. I'm going to die anyway. I might as well snort coke on camera. I'm going to die anyway. I might as well just keep shit posting and be high as balls. I'll be hired in Harlem. Who cares? It would probably happen. People are socially alienated right now. We've got enough domestic problems. And one of the things Trump campaigned on was, hey, stay out of Syria. Well, you know, there are a lot of people who voted for Trump that really want to hold him to that. So Trump, I would recommend not bothering with Syria. Prove to me that Assad gassed anyone. Don't just label somebody a conspiracy theorist for denying a claim for which no actual evidence exists. There is no evidence being presented to me of something. Extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. If you want to say that Assad is such a single-minded madman that right before winning he's going to endanger his entire campaign, I want something in the way of evidence. I don't want to hear, oh, the UN says that this gas was deployed. No, I don't care what the UN says. I fucking couldn't care less what the UN says. They are the most inept, bureaucratic, nightmarish group of miscreants that this world has ever been harmed by, really. They don't do anything. An actual genocide occurs. It takes years for them to solve it. Meanwhile, they're too busy dick-wagging after any country that steps out of the globalist line. They're a laughingstock. Who cares what the UN says? The Pentagon says, well, Assad gassed people. Okay, where's the proof? Again, don't tell me, oh, it's classified. You can't know. I don't care if it's classified. Then it's not evidence. I can't see it. You're asking me to support a war. Like you asked me to support Iraq based on largely, pardon the pun, trumped-up pretenses. Oh, Saddam uses chemical weapons. Saddam has bioweapons. Saddam's trying to get a nuke. He's going to attack Israel. All of these big claims that people made. Saddam is just totally fucking nuts. He might start a World War III. Okay, well, in this case, you're making the same claims about Assad, but if you want to start World War III, it won't be because Assad or the FSA or ISIS gassed a few dozen people with chlorine. That's not going to start World War III. It's regrettable. Whoever deployed it, yeah, it'd be wonderful if we could identify who it was, but I'm not being given evidence. As far as I'm concerned, it's just as likely that it was ISIS in the region or the FSA doing that. Absolutely. They have a reason, too. They have a motive. Get the international community involved to attack Assad. Russia's saying, don't do it. We will attack your missiles and bring them down if you try. Trump says, well, the missiles are coming, so, you know, fucking get ready. Well, you know, much as I like a little bit of bravado, I would rather aim it at someone who deserves, like North Korea, as opposed to Russia. I think it would be a pretty bad idea for the US and Russia to actually go to war with each other because it would end the world as we know it. Yeah, you wouldn't be using YouTube. Yeah, you wouldn't have Styx Hexenhammer videos anymore. What the fuck are you going to do with your day? You'd be farming and your crops would glow in the dark. And you'd die of leukemia within a couple of years. That's if you survive the initial onslaught. The lucky ones will be the ones whose brains are boiled inside of their skulls because they were close enough to the gamma shine. Those will be the lucky ones. They die instantly. They're not even going to feel a thing. A little further out, they die of third-degree burns. A little further, and within a few days, they got goiters and fucking tumors all over their fucking selves. And that's how they die. Or they die of sepsis because of their injuries from flying shards of glass and there's no doctors around. Or their lungs explode because of the overpressure. They're in that zone. Or maybe the fallout cloud drifts their way and a week later they've just got absolutely massive radiation poisoning. They can't even move. Their hair's gonna fall out. Fucking they go blind. Their ears are ringing. They'll put themselves out of their misery, mostly. Even those that would have recovered and maybe lived for a few more years. Oh no, 99% of them will just kill themselves. They'll drink poison. They'll blow their heads off. By the way, wonderful time to disarm people in some of these states. Yeah, we're about to hit World War III. Let's take guns away from civilians. Wonderful idea. Yeah, so that some other country can easily invade and it won't be a problem as long as they still have some remnant standing army. Yeah, California, okay, California will be a part of China. China won't largely exist anymore. They'll get nuked too, so the remnant population will have to establish a colony. Be like maybe back 5,000 years ago with their naval forces there. There is reason to believe, by the way, they might have landed on the West Coast at that time, several thousand years ago. No, it's nuts. Mutually assured destruction is nuts alone, but at least it doesn't cause billions of people to die. You're talking about wanting to attack Assad. No, I don't think that's a good idea. And anyone who wants to call me a conspiracy theorist or an anti-Semite for not wanting a war, my goodness, how lost you are. You are just such a mentally crippled, propaganda-addled human being for believing that. You are exactly like the worst cable-addled, fox-watching sheep at the outset of the invasion of Iraq. Well, let's wave the flag. That'll magically solve things. No, I don't want Generation Z to have to go through what the millennials went through. Invade Iraq. Oh, look, fresh crop of new faces, 18, 19, 20 years old. Let's get them in here. Come on, you can go over to Iraq and fight for Uncle Sam. We'll pay for part of your college fund. That's basically what happens. Now Gen Z comes along. They're starting to achieve young adulthood. Okay, go again. Go die for no reason. Now, you can support the troops. The best way to do that is, hey, keep as many of them here in the U.S. as possible. Yeah, give them all the training, all the funding. They should be sitting there. They should march around and go to the range and eat an MRE and fun stuff. You send them to a non-hostile nation. Oh, I'm getting stationed in Rome. This is going to be a fun vacation. Oh, they're sending me to Paris. What a wonderful time. Ah, fuck, I got sent to the DMZ. See you guys in a few months. That's how it should work. No, we don't need dudes marching around in Syria. We don't need drone warfare bullshit and all this stuff. Where's the anti-war sentiment of the left? You're busy calling people conspiracy theorists for not wanting to bomb Assad? You're nuts. And as for Trump, it would be a monumentally large mistake to haul off and attack Assad. The deep state is telling you it's a popular idea. A bunch of rigged polls on Twitter are saying it's popular. I don't think so. I really, really don't think so. I think that that's been cooked. Who was it? A Syrian girl saying the Muslim Brotherhood was tweeting it out, and that's why it was overwhelmingly in favor. Because, of course, Assad is Alawite. So the Sunnis there, they back the FSA. They want an Islamic state. They want a Sharia state, so they want to get rid of Assad. So naturally, any group that's like that, they're like, oh yeah, we want the West to attack Assad. Please do. Please destabilize him. Please destroy him. Cut his head off. Whatever you have to do, because then Syria will no longer be under the control of this marginally secular leader who's part of a quasi-pagan order. The Alawites are more close to pagans than they are Sunnis. They're mystics in a way. It's sort of like the difference between maybe a Kabbalah and Gematria practicing mystic Jew and somebody who's like a Netanyahu or something. There's a huge difference between the two. So yeah, it's not an issue of backing or liking Assad. Yeah, he's a dictator. So yeah, as a libertarian, not going to like that very much. And I don't back Russia. Russia's an authoritarian state. I don't believe all this bullshit that's spread by some people. Oh, Russia stands against the New World Order. No, they're part of the New World Order. Putin's just a multi-billionaire oligarch lover anyway. He's no different from these other morons, really. And I'm not gonna, it's just the truth. But that doesn't mean I want to kill all the Russians, but in a nuclear war. The fact that I don't like Assad doesn't mean I want to destroy Assad. Look, the alternative's worse. The alternative is it ends up Iraq 2.0 at best. At worst, it falls to ISIS, ends up becoming the first piece of their caliph state, and we have to spend 5-6 years dislodging them again. Assad's done a much better job. We've been, in part, aiding him, by the way. We've been bombing ISIS within the region. I support that. Go ahead and bomb ISIS all you want. Once you start attacking the other groups that are attacking ISIS, doesn't that endanger your mission objectives? I would think that it would. Trump, as early as 2013 to 2015, was saying, stay out of Syria. It's a bad idea. It'll bring nothing but misery. Okay, we're holding you to that, Mr. Trump. Back off of the deserts there, because fundamentally, they're worthless. Go into Venezuela and have Maduro removed so that we can just buy our oil there and we never have to enter the Middle East again. That would be a wonderful world indeed. That's about all. Peace out.